What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So today I would like to talk about a pair of installs on a very, very unique staff lightsaber. I was a little more prepared. So this is the staff. I don't know what the name of this setup is, but these are two hilts from Space Junk Sabers that have been set up to be used as a staff. Super, super unique staff coupling mechanism in this. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know where it came from. Most likely it was probably pulled from some sort of industrial pipe fitting component or something, but really, really cool coupling feature on these hilts. I do want to come into Fusion and talk about both of these chassis. Both are a little bit different. We've got a removable chassis in one hilt, and the other hilt has a regular static chassis, right? And there are also some unique external aspects. I have got to slow down when I talk. There are some unique external aspects of some of the hilts that I want to talk about as well. We've got a lens down in this grip that is going to be lit with the chassis from underneath. So we'll talk about all of that when we come into Fusion, and let's do that right now. Okay, so let's talk about, I've broken up both of these installs into side A and side B, right? So we'll talk about side A first. This is the side A removable chassis for side A of the staff, right? So luckily in the lower grip section or the lower pommel section of this hilt, we've got enough room for a 28mm speaker, okay? So I've got a 28 down here. There is a channel at the spine of the chassis where I bring all of my leads up into the board section, excuse me, okay? Battery tray is here. Around back, just a lot of greebly work on this one. So this hilt steps down into an MHS V2 grip. So we've got a 1-inch internal diameter here, right? So I did have to accommodate for that, but I was still able to get some greebly work on both sides of the chassis. This chassis was printed in PLA, okay? Up top here, this is where our Proffieboard will live. It slides up underneath this lip and then pulls forward into these two forks to help secure it into place. If you ever want to like configure board or add new fonts to the SD card, you're going to want to just push your Proffieboard forward a little bit and it will flip up and you can get access to the USB and SD card that way, okay? On one side, I've got two rectangular LEDs for some extra accent, and then on this side, we've got our kill switch, okay? Up top, there is a 6-rail PCB. This is from Smugglers Outpost, and this is what makes a connection to this upper PCB holder, okay? So I've got the male end of that 6-rail PCB here. There is a window here for me to pull my switch leads. So this particular hilt has a Graflex control box, like a vintage Graflex control box with a bubble strip. So I bring my leads out for those switches through this window. I had to fish them out through here, okay? And then up top is our lit PCB emitter. This is from KR Sabers. So this whole thing lives inside of the hilt and it is held in place with a set screw. All right. But that's the side A setup, fully removable chassis, okay? Side B is a static chassis. So this is the other half of the staff. 28mm speaker down here. So again, this whole grip had room for a 28. So both installs have a 28mm speaker. Greebly work on both sides of the chassis. I went really heavy with these. So because it's a 28 millimeter chassis all the way, there was plenty of room for some big, chunky, detailed greeblies from my greebly library. And because these are higher detailed greeblies, this chassis was done in resin. So I printed this one off in resin. At the bottom here, there is an indentation for a rectangular LED. So one of the things that is in this side of the staff is an LED lens. But because it's so low, I thought it would have been a little tricky to get it lit because of how low it is, right? There's just enough room underneath the speaker to get that rectangular LED. So when you thread your grip in place, it will light that lens in the lower section of the grip. And I was really happy that that worked out. Any higher and that wouldn't have worked because it would have knocked into the speaker. All right. So there would have been enough room to do a stacked like board and battery setup in this, but I wanted to go super greebly heavy on this chassis. So I did a tilted Proffieboard setup. It does tuck up underneath the threads of the hilt. And then all of my leads come out the top, right? So all of my switch leads, my PCB, blade PCB leads come out the top here. And this whole thing just lives inside of the hilt. It is held in place with a set screw. And I also did a very small bead of E6000 to help secure it into place. There are also 2 rectangular LEDs up top here for some extra accent. And then, of course, we've got our kill switch here. Okay. And that's it. Let's come up top. Okay, so here they are. The Space Junk Sabers staff. Side A and side B, right? Very, very unique looking hilt. In fact, somebody online in one of the Reddit threads said it looks like a Borderlands hilt. It kind of does. I totally get that. Or I get Fallout vibes from this with the blue and the yellow, right? But super unique looking hilt, unique parts. I do want to talk about how to use these guys, right? So, and then of course I want to show how they couple together because it's a really interesting coupling mechanism. Okay, so let's go with this one first. This is the side with the removable chassis. Okay, so here is the chassis. I did a pass of pewter rub and buff on this. There are those 2 LEDs. All right. Now with this bubble strip, underneath this bubble strip are 2 tactile switches inside of a holder that I created, right? So they're nice and clicky, nice and responsive. Okay. You can loosen this if you want. Let's go ahead and take that off here. So there are those 2 switches. Okay. Put that back on, clamp it. Nice and responsive switches. Okay. Let's let's show how this chassis works. Okay. This chassis is sized for, done in PLA, this one. The other one's done in resin. Sized for an 18650 button top protected battery. All right. So I go ahead and put my battery in. This was already on. If you don't hear anything, you can hit that kill switch. There are those 2 rectangular LEDs. All right. So once you get your battery in, you're ready to go, right? So you can put the chassis in. It doesn't matter which orientation. And then you want to thread in your pommel. Actually, let's get a good look at this coupling mechanism here. So I don't know what this is from, but this is just super unique. It's a twist lock coupling. I've never seen anything like this. Actually, I think I have. Anyway, yeah, really, really unique twist lock mechanism on that, right? We'll go over that a little bit more when we come down to the bottom. But anyway, put your chassis in. Then you can thread your pommel in until that stops. Don't over crank it. And then you're good to go, okay? All right. So that's side A. Let's talk about side B, right? So here's the other half of the staff. Another really unique looking hilt. And this one has a crystal chamber, right? There's an exposed crystal chamber up top here. We also have a control box down here with 2 LEDs. So these LEDs are lit. I also added my brass momentary switches up here, and these have been weathered. Okay. To get at your chassis for this one, so this speaker rubs a little bit up against the inside of the grip, which is fine, but just that noise is that speaker rubbing up against it. So here's the chassis. I did a pass of pewter rub and buff on this as well. All the way down here, you can kind of see, you'll probably see it when we put a battery in it, but there is that square LED. Let's put a battery in it now. Again, a button top 18650, okay? So there's that square LED that will line up. Okay, Kylo. It will line up with this lens in the grip, but it's super low, excuse me, super low, super close to that speaker. I did not think it would work, but luckily it had just enough room to give us some shine through in that lens in the grip. And there are those 2 LEDs in the control box lit. And then, of course, a crystal chamber is lit as well. Okay? Proffieboard is right here, just up underneath the threads, and it's, yeah, you can easily access your USB and your SD card if you need to. Okay, so once you get your battery in, thread your grip back in place. So there is that lens in the grip. So one of the things I knew I wanted to do about this install, or with this install, is get this lit. And doing stuff this low in the grip is not always easy, right? But that's lit. Okay, crystal chamber. Oops. There are those two LEDs lit in the control box. All right, and that's it. Let's come down to the bottom. All right, so here they are. Let's we'll go over this crystal chamber one first. So nice exposed crystal chamber up top here. There is that LED in the grip. Okay. And then here's the other half. Okay. All right. So let's try and figure out how we're going to do this. Maybe I can put a blade in one end. If it's a 7, yeah, I can put a short demo blade in one end, and then we'll demo. Actually, let's demo the coupling action right now. So obviously, both of these work on their own. They have been set up with the same config, right? But to couple them, you just want to find that sweet spot and then twist. Yeah. Really, really interesting setup, right? So let's put a blade in one end. All right, so both of these take a 7/8 inch blade, right? I'm going to put a blade in this one, the crystal chamber one. So make sure your blade is resting on those PCB pins. There is a set screw around front here that will serve as your blade retention. So I'm just going to tighten that so it's hugging my blade. And then we are ready to go. Okay. Whoops. There's that crystal chamber, exposed crystal chamber up top there. So let's try and couple these, right? So you want to try and find that sweet spot and then kind of twist to tighten it. And then here we go. How am I going to, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's just too long to swing around in here. But anyway, super unique coupling mechanism. I'm going to hit something if I keep swinging this around. I can't. Really unique coupling mechanism there, but there is that lit LED in the lower section of the hilt. Crystal chamber. Okay. Okay, let's see what else we got. So both have been set up with the same config. Okay. Go ahead and put a blade in the other one really quick. Just so I'm not swinging it around and knocking my ceiling. I haven't hit my ceiling fan in a long time. Knock on wood. Okay. And here's the other one. A little bit of a shorter profile on this one. Ben Solo. One more. Lord Vader. Okay, so that's it. That's the staff from Space Junk Sabers. Super unique looking hilts. Both complement one another. Really cool coupling action on that too. Really cool. Cool. I mean, they're both really fun to couple like that. Right? I'm sure they're fun to swing around in a room that is not small. Anyhow, to the customer, thank you very much for trusting me with both of your installs. If anyone has any questions about this install or anything really, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.